Let's begin by querying up politics. How Sarah Davis went from Texas House Republican to transgender ally. Sarah Davis is used to butting heads with her fellow Republicans. During the 10 years she has served in the Texas House, she regularly spoke out in support of the LGBTQ+ community, a rare sight in one of the states leading the charge on attacking queer rights. In 2017, she crossed party lines and voted against legislation aimed at preventing trans students from using toilets that align with their authentic selves. In 2020, she joined forces with another Republican as well as a group of Democrats to push legislation that would further protect LGBTQ+ people from discrimination. Davis has immersed herself in learning about gender-affirming healthcare from medical professionals and hearing from parents about how anti-trans legislation affects their children. Talking to PinkNews, she said, quote, "I had a constituent who called the office and said, 'Can I meet Sarah and bring my transgender child?' End quote. The woman had twins and explained that at the age of 3, one of her children began saying that she wanted to wear dresses and grow her hair. Sarah came to know that the girl was afraid to go to school as she was scared to use the bathroom. She then realized that she would not want to be a part of making this child's life difficult or scary." Well, bravo to the representative from Texas. The reason why I think this story is so interesting for LGBTQ community is not the stand up for the trans community, but that somebody on the other side of the aisle is willing to stand up and say, wait, we're going to talk about things that are right, and you're not going to shout me down. Whether it was either way, Democrat that crosses the aisle for Republican issues, conservative business issues, whatever they might be, or like in this situation, crossing the aisle for the stand-up of LGBT rights and trans rights. I really wish this could be a model that we see more of in the country. We could use they could use a greater dose of this in Texas, and we could use some dose of this in Florida.
Have you ever spoken to like a Republican or a Trumpster, right? And like they don't want to hear what you got to say. You'll have facts, and they're like, no, that's fake news. No, because they don't want to be turned over. Okay, that is what happened with this woman. If everybody else that hated us so much would just take a little bit of time to educate themselves, they would be like Sarah. You know, I mean, like, look at her. She met this little girl, and especially that's why I'm always so confused and so taken aback by the fact that our kids are the ones that are targeted, right? Because when you see there's no malice in a child telling you this is not my real gender. There just isn't, you know, and she was able to see that in the child of one of her constituents.
She saw the importance of human life. Let's recognize that first and foremost. She saw this person as a human, and she says, you know what, this is how you feel. Who am I to say I am against it? And kudos for her for doing the homework. First and foremost, how many of us that we know who don't agree with us will take the time to say, allow me to listen? Because we all know often when mouths are moving, the ears never work. And she took the moment to stop and listen and sit in silence and then do the work. And also, to Al's point, she decided to call out the hypocrisy. She says, you know what, how is that we don't want parents to pick and choose their education, and you know, you can choose what books your child read, but you cannot choose how you give your child health. And that's why I think kudos that your point. We need more people to stand up and say we got to call a spade a spade.
And most people will stay quiet. Sorry, John. And most people will stay quiet. Well, she's not gay. She's not part of our community. Her children aren't gay. She could just take that information, stay educated, and shut the hell up. And she's not going to do that, you know?
But that's one of the things. How many stories have we done about these laws that passed either in Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida, whatever, over the last couple of years? And we always have at least one time in those stories, the phrase, Republicans said blah, 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 without any actual backup, without any facts to back up what they were saying. She went out and got the facts. And now we know why Republicans don't want them, because they don't align with what they think. What's real and what they think. And this is just a mind blown thank you so much to her for standing up for children you don't even know. Instead of attacking children you don't know, you met one, put a face with it, now you know one. That's game changing if we can get more people to do it.
Exactly. So don't you think that what we should be doing is trying to get more of these meetings together of the trans community, the LGBT community, with the Republicans or the people who are anti-trans or anti-gay? Because, you know, one of the things that I hear all the time in conservative media and a lot of people in my life is that, you know, my my kid told me that they wanted to be Superman. So, if they tell me that they want to be a girl, of course, you just ignore it and keep going. But when you're a parent of a trans kid, it's not, I want to be Superman or I want to be, it's something that you see that is longer than a week. It's longer than a month. You see it, who they are. And for all those parents who are saying, oh, my kid told me I wanted to be Superman or they wanted to be G.I. Joe, whatever it was, get to know a trans kid or the parent of a trans kid, you will realize there's a huge difference there.
So one last thought. One of the things that she does here that is illustrated in the story, and you get to it, she's interested in understanding the medical science behind this, of hearing from medical experts. And she gets educated from medical professionals. She embraces the science, which is often, over the last 3 or 4 years, something that's been missing in a lot of our politics. I remember just recently in one of our shows, very well-known trans activist here in South Florida said that last year, a group of trans activists went to Tallahassee during lobby days and wanted to meet with a lot of different representatives and senators, and they met only with Democratic House and Senate elected officials because not a single Republican would speak to them. Well, when you have an absolutist mentality of, I know all of the facts, the world is flat, and that's the way it will always be, that is the way it will always be. We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.